The purpose of Venceremos is to publish progressive Chicano-Chicana journalism, which means that our newspaper openly stands against social injustices such as racism, sexism, class oppression, heterosexism, and homophobia. We advocate social change and equality. Venceremos will fulfill its purpose by reporting the important events, issues, and struggles of Latinos and Latinas at the U, at local high schools, in the community, and from around the Southwest and across the country. By publishing articles on Chicana, Chicano history, and political thought, by attempting to bridge the gap between working class Latina and Latino communities in Utah and the university, and thus making the university more accessible to our youth by encouraging the recruitment and retention of Latina and Latino students, faculty, and staff at the university.
It's a very powerful publication on this campus. It's the only bilingual Chicana, Chicano, Latino, Latina newspaper at the University of Utah. I became a part of the newspaper when Stephanie Murguia, the first editor-in-chief since the hiatus, I agreed to help out with this project, and I completely fell in love with it.
I joined Venceremos just because I've always been interested in writing, and I like having a voice, and I think there are certain things that happen that the community needs to know about, and I'm glad that I can do that.
Because for people that are marginalized, you can't stay in the margins forever. You have to be able to branch out of that and to step out of the shadows and be able to be seen. So yeah, I think Venceremos is a good way to do that.
People feel defensive if they are white and they don't want to talk about race because it makes them feel guilty, I think. And I don't think they even realize that's what they feel, but they feel guilty and therefore they feel defensive. And sometimes just want to say, why are we talking about this? Can't we just move on? What does now have to do with anything that's happened? So Venceremos, I think, allows me in particular to answer that question for people, why it still matters and why we can talk about it in a way that is constructive but also critical.
The newsroom gets very busy before a deadline. Everyone's coming in and coming out, trying to get all their pictures, their stories, everything worked out and everything put together. Everybody's working on something and some people are working together. It's very, very busy. We have two main editors who look over our stories and they tell us like if little changes need to be occurred, but mostly everyone's in charge of laying out their own story, getting the pictures for their story, like how they want to portray what they're writing about. They have control over their ownership of what they're saying. We get the stories, we lay them out, and we print out like a mock of what's going to be finished before we send it to print, so that we can check for typos or anything that last-minute details. And once that gets okayed by everybody or by the editors, then we send that to print. And then after print, we get it dropped off at a location, and then we go together and we distribute among the community and on campus.
We have a staff that's entirely volunteer, and we do it on the resources that are available for the capacity that the staff has. So we distribute the issue both on campus and in the larger community. So on campus, we do what we can to get it into as many buildings and departments and classroom spaces, and we do it all by either walking it to particular locations or driving it to them. And in the community, we have typically targeted the more diverse communities of Salt Lake City, and so that means putting together as many bodies and cars as we can and dividing up stacks and driving them to locations that we feel the readers that we want to reach will get them in their hands, which means little marketplaces sometimes, mercados, businesses that cater to either Latino or other diverse populations, recreation or community centers, and sometimes even through local churches.
Venceremos works to strengthen the ties between students of different cultural and national backgrounds by exposing and opposing the negative depictions of people of color which often appear in the media of the dominant culture, and in general by supporting all struggles which are aimed at combating racial, gender, and class inequality at the University of Utah, in Utah, and in the United States. Venceremos has been published and operated at the university since 1993. It is run by students of color and their allies. It is a free publication that can be picked up locally. If you would like copies of the latest issue, or if you would like to contribute photos, artwork, poetry, submit articles, help manage the website, or help distribute the paper, contact us on Facebook at Venceremos Utah, or send us an email at venceremosutah@yahoo.com.